Hello, everyone. It's Friday, March the 18th. I guess we haven't been with you since last Monday, and so over 3 or 4 days, we still have the reality of we lose more and more people. 87 people since my last briefing, and we're at 6,646 deaths in West Virginia, and all I can say is over and over and over, we've got a little video to show you in just a minute, but because yesterday was the first positive case day that we had 2 years ago. 2 years. It's been a long time. And we've lost an incredible amount of wonderful, wonderful people. Great, loving West Virginians that we miss, and we absolutely grieve for the families in every way. But nevertheless, we go forward. So please join me in your respect and prayers for these people that I'm going to read right today. The 6,560th death is a 61-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 6,561st death is an 82-year-old male from Cabell County. The 6,562nd death, a 91-year-old female from Clay County. The 6,563rd death, a 63-year-old male from Wyoming County. The 6,564th death, a 75-year-old female from Kanawha County. The 6,565th death, a 75-year-old male from Berkeley County. The 6,566th death, a 68-year-old female from Berkeley County. The 6,567th death, a 77-year-old male from Jefferson County. The 6,568th death, an 82-year-old male from Cabell County. The 6,569th death, a 57-year-old female from Berkeley County. The 6,570th death, a 92-year-old female from Marion County. The 6,571st death, a 65-year-old male from Lincoln County. The 6,572nd death, an 88-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 6,573rd death, a 94-year-old female from Cabell County. The 6,574th death, a 77-year-old male from Randolph County. The 6,575th death, a 74-year-old male from Fayette County. The 6,576th death, an 80-year-old female from Ohio County. The 6,577th death, a 49-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 6,578th death, an 83-year-old male from Wayne County. The 6,579th death, an 85-year-old male from Randolph County. The 6,580th death, a 71-year-old male from Logan County. The 6,581st death, an 87-year-old female from Raleigh County. The 6,582nd death, a 76-year-old female from Mercer County. The 6,583rd death, a 74-year-old male from Raleigh County. The 6,584th death is 57-year-old female from Greenbrier County. The 6,585th death, a 93-year-old female from Fayette County. The 6,586th death, an 83-year-old female from Wayne County. The 6,587th death, a 60-year-old male from Ritchie County. The 6,588th death, an 81-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 6,589th death, an 87-year-old female from Upshur County. The 6,590th death, an 84-year-old female from Lincoln County. The 6,591st death, an 80-year-old female from Ohio County. The 6,592nd death, a 71-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 6,593rd death, the 6,593rd death, a 98-year-old male from Mercer County. The 6,594th death, an 80-year-old female from Monroe County. The 6,595th death, a 67-year-old male from Boone County. The 6,596th death, a 69-year-old female from Cabell County. The 6,597th death, a 64-year-old male from McDowell County. The 6,598th death, a 43-year-old female from Berkeley County. The 6,599th death, a 74-year-old female from Fayette County. The 6,600th death in West Virginia is a 67-year-old female from Mercer County. The 6,601st death is a 74-year-old male from Putnam County. The 6,602nd death, an 83-year-old female from Wyoming County. The 6,603rd death, a 75-year-old male from Fayette County. The 6,604th death, a 39-year-old male from Berkeley County. What a shame. The 6,605th death, a 78-year-old male from Logan County. The 6,606th death, a 79-year-old male from Raleigh County. The 6,607th death, a 72-year-old male from Fayette County. The 6,608th death, a 77-year-old female from Fayette County. The 6,609th death, a 73-year-old male from McDowell County. The 6,610th death, a 77-year-old male from Logan County. The 6,611th death, an 87-year-old female from Raleigh County. The 6,612th death, a 63-year-old female from Berkeley County. The 6,613th death is a 76-year-old female from Fayette County. The 6,614th death is a 69-year-old female from McDowell County. The 6,615th death is a 73-year-old male from Hampshire County. The 6,616th death is a 74-year-old female from Cabell County. The 6,617th death is an 89-year-old female from Raleigh County. The 6,618th death is a 91-year-old male from Lewis County. The 6,619th death is an 80-year-old male from Mason County. The 6,620th death is an 82-year-old male from Marshall County. The 6,621st death is a 101-year-old female, bless her heart, from Raleigh County. The 6,622nd death is a 77-year-old male from Harrison County. The 6,623rd death is a 65-year-old female from Raleigh County. The 6,624th death is an 82-year-old male from Harrison County. The 6,625th death is a 57-year-old female from Berkeley County. The 6,626th death is a 72-year-old female from Clay County. The 6,627th death is a 48-year-old male from Lewis County. The 6,628th death, a 45-year-old male from Harrison County. The 6,629th death, a 65-year-old female from Wyoming County. The 6,630th death is a 91-year-old male from Wayne County. The 6,631st death is a 73-year-old female from Randolph County. The 6,632nd death is a 55-year-old male from Cabell County. The 6,633rd death is an 80-year-old female from Greenbrier County. The 6,634th death is an 84-year-old female from Wood County. The 6,635th death is a 64-year-old male from Pocahontas County. The 6,636th death is an 81-year-old male from Putnam County. The 6,637th death is a 66-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 6,638th death is a 60-year-old male from Fayette County. The 6,639th death is a 95-year-old female from Brooke County. The 6,640th death is a 76-year-old female from Lewis County. The 6,641st death is a 91-year-old female from Barber County. The 6,642nd death is an 85-year-old female from Mason County. The 6,643rd death is a 59-year-old male from Kanawha County. Something doesn't match here, guys. You know, I'm at 6,643 deaths, and this is all I've got. And my report says that we've got 6,646 deaths. So I'm going to stop at 6,643 for right now, and hope and pray that's all it is, because that's 3 less West Virginians than my report says we've lost. But please keep them in your prayers. Now we've got a little video right now, and maybe, well, let me get through these numbers real quick here. You know, well, no, let's do our video right now, if we could do that, please. Just moments before I was able to come on tonight and talk with you, our health officials came to me and said, now we do have our first positive. We test. The more we test, the more we know. Well, in this situation with this disease, there's 3 ways to stop it. There's 3 ways to combat this. And that has to come down to age.
To COVID-19 vaccines, you are not only leading the nation, but leading the world.
Been lauded for success in getting vaccination out to your people. It's about 18% of the state, I believe.
Beat 588, ... bad. Our young people that have already stepped up and been vaccinated, and every single one of our young people, we're going to give a $100 savings bond to every single one that steps up and takes their vaccines. That I am signing an executive order to modify our face covering requirement, and we will immediately begin following the updated CDC guidance for all those West Virginians that are fully vaccinated. You know, if you can't do it for yourself, you can't do it for your family, you can't do it for your friends, do it for baby doll. So we're just gonna call it that. Next millionaire in the state of West Virginia, where's Sharon Turner? I don't know how you could have a better official spokesperson that loves everybody and makes everybody smile than Baby Dog. And you know, and I said over and over, if you don't want to do it for yourself, you don't want to do it for your family, do it for Baby Dog.
You have won a 4-year scholarship, full ride scholarship to any institution in West Virginia.
When I came around the corner, I saw the boat and still didn't know it until I saw Baby Dog and Governor Justice, and still kind of surreal.
And last Friday, the FDA and the CDC authorized COVID-19 vaccine booster shots. You won. You won $50,000 for your school. I can only give you just a personal testimony and just to say to you just this, that these vaccines are safe and they could very well save your life. And me being here talking to you right now may be testimony to just exactly that. I'd have never believed that I'd be here in front of you 2 years from when this all started. I would have never ever thought in any way that this could possibly last for 2 years. And you know, if you look at, gosh, where we've been, and it's been sad, it's been frustrating, it's been exhausting, it's been all the you know, adjectives that you could possibly come up with, but it's better. It's better. I don't know if we're a 4 or 5 yet, but it's better, a lot better. Well, we thank Kelsey for putting that together. I saw it, you know, 1 minute before we came on air today, and but it's been a rough 2 years, hasn't it? It really has. It's been tragic for a lot of families, and but we're going to keep moving. This isn't going to beat us. That's all there is to it. We're too tough in West Virginia. We're too resilient, and we're going to win today. But thank you for helping me pull the rope. I mean, really, I owe so much gratitude and thanks first and foremost to the good Lord and all of His incredible blessings. And but I owe an awful lot of thanks and gratitude to you, because you stayed right with me, and I'll never forget it. You know, we didn't fragment. We stayed together, and we stayed together in a state where we were really old and really eat up with chronic illnesses, and within a rock's throw of 2/3 of the population of this country that was bringing it right through West Virginia nonstop. And we stood together. And we could have been the epicenter of disaster beyond belief, but we stood together. And we stood strong, and I congratulate you and I thank you. You know, I say it lots of times. Well, I don't say it all that often, I guess, but, you know, there's a saying, you know, that my father used to tell me, you know, about, you know, from the standpoint that he was an Air Force captain in World War II. And he used to say, you know, there's no honor any greater than to look at somebody and say it's been an honor flying with you. And it really has truly been an honor, West Virginia, because you've been really, really special. I told you too that we had 3, you know, possible deaths that we were missing. That was my fault. I just had the pages rearranged here and everything and just missed it. But the 6,644th death in West Virginia is a 78-year-old female from Mercer County. The 6,645th death is an 80-year-old female from Berkeley County. The 6,646th death is a 71-year-old female from Monongalia County. And that totals 6,646 deaths in West Virginia. Our active cases are down below 1,000. They're at 795. That's the lowest since the 4th of July in 2020, 622 days ago. Can you imagine? That's the lowest number of active cases that we've had in 622 days. That's really, really, really good and really meaningful. We're down to 227 cases that are in the hospital, and our daily positivity rate's at 1.89. Our cumulative rate is at 8.30. We have 488,968 people that have recovered from this dreaded disease. We have 239 that are hospitalized. I may have said it wrong. We have 227 new positive cases in West Virginia, and we have 239 hospitalized, 67 in the ICU unit and 37 on ventilators. Our map is really simple. We have one yellow county, and all the rest are green. You know, we're getting there. And I know it's been tough, and I know it's terrible, terrible, terrible for all those folks and families of the 6,646, but some way, somehow, we're going to get there. I remind you about your booster shots. I don't know of anything that could be more silly than absolutely be fully vaccinated and not take your booster shot. You know, it's just something that you absolutely should listen to me. You've listened to me all the way through this and everything. I really believe wholeheartedly, if I hadn't had my booster shot really and truly, I'd have been in real trouble. You know, because the first couple of days were pretty daggone tough. In fact, they were worse than tough. But nevertheless, please go get your booster shot. You know, if your time is right now to get your booster shot, do it. Do it right now. You know, our numbers still crawl and get better little bit by little bit. Frankly, to tell you the truth, all the good news is probably demotivating some folks to going on and finishing up your vaccines or your boosters or whatever it may be. But nevertheless, we'll continue to try, and we'll continue to reach out. And as long as we're continuing to make a little progress, we'll take the little progress. All the COVID vaccine stuff is up on my website. You know, the free testing, I always thank Fruth and Walgreens for all that they've done and continue to do. It's all available to you. We have 105 outbreaks in our long-term care facilities, none in our church community. We have 70 inmate cases and 7 staff cases. I tell you over and over about if you're a renter or a landlord, I mean, you ought to just call. I mean, we may very well be able to qualify you. Absolutely, if you're hurting and whatever, call us. Call us. You know, there's dollars there that may very well be able to help you out. I remind you about giving blood. I'd check with your physician and everything, and if you're good to go on giving blood, you may want to really think about that. You know, I tell you that your at home, health or test kits, you know, you can get those. If you'll go to our COVID-test.gov line, you know, we'll get you through it, and before you can get those. The masks are available. Your N95 masks are available at your health centers or the pharmacies. Our Jump Start program is up and going now, and we're trying to lower our unemployment even lower. It's at a 5-month, 5 times all record-breaking historic number. We want to continue that path, and hopefully wouldn't it be just something if we could just get more and more and more great West Virginians to work. I've got a couple of announcements. I've signed a proclamation declaring March 21st through the 25th as Flood Safety and Severe Weather Awareness Week in West Virginia. You know, there'll be a statewide tornado drill that will be conducted at 11 a.m. on Tuesday, March the 22nd. You know, no one would have ever thunk it, you know, that West Virginia could possibly end up with a tornado in West Virginia with its mountains and all that. But it's happened, hasn't it? And it continues to happen. And so, you know, I want to read this to you. The National Weather Service, in partnership with the West Virginia Emergency Management Division, Ready West Virginia, and the West Virginia Broadcasters Association will issue a test tornado warning message. Across the state, weather alert radios will activate and television and radio stations will broadcast the alert. The drill gives all citizens the opportunity to participate in this tornado, you know, safety measure. Okay, you know, this is way off the subject. I'll get to that in a minute. You know, yesterday I announced that we are awarding $23 million in grant funding to dozens of nursing education programs at colleges, universities, and schools of nursing and career technical education centers across West Virginia. This funding will support up to 600 new nursing students. Absolutely, you know, what we want to do in every way is we want to recruit and educate the very best that we possibly can have within West Virginia, because we don't want to ever get back in staff issues and everything where we can't staff our hospitals, because our nurses are our first line of defense. They do an incredible job, and we thank them in every way. And this historic investment in our state's nursing workforce that I am very thrilled to be doing right now will only strengthen us as we go forward, you know, from the critical education programs right on down all across our state. We've also got broadband grants. We have millions of dollars that are going to be putting to work, you know, all kinds of different variations of broadband all across our state. I've committed. We have now, with the Senate and the House, we now are on the beginning stages of a billion dollar program towards broadband. You know, today's announcements, you know, bring us up to $23.1 million of so-called of the beginning stages of the dollars that we've invested towards broadband. You know, this morning I am announcing the preliminary approval of over $3.9 million of line extension, advancement, and development program funds, you know, that are going out. You know, there's lots of stuff going on, you know, with our initiative to our $1 billion broadband strategy that's really on the move now. And, you know, there's so many things in the state to be incredibly proud of and everything. One project such as this, one project, previous administrations would have salivated over one project. I mean, we can't read all the projects. It's just one right after another. And that's what we want in West Virginia. That's exactly what we've wanted. Just like I just said, you can't even keep up with them. You know, 5 months in a row, you know, our unemployment rate decreased to 3.9% in the month of February. more West Virginians going back to work. 2,000 more of them went back to work in West Virginia in February. It's just, this is anything but a political exaggeration. This is real. This is totally real. I told you I was going to take you on a rocket ship ride. And we're absolutely, we're on it and riding and enjoying every second of it right now. And we want the ride to go on and on and on. I'm going to do everything in my power to see that we're able to just do just that. I get this thing. Here's another one. West Virginia has the second highest export growth rate in the nation. Good gracious. It's just unbelievable. The second highest export growth rate in the nation. West Virginia's export growth rate grew by 37% in 2021. It's unbelievable. It's just flat unbelievable. What led the way? Plastics and coal and gas and or plastics and coal primarily. But not only that, other sectors like machinery, automotive parts, chemicals, aerospace products, and hardwoods. The top countries for West Virginia's products where we're sending them were Canada, China, India, Brazil, and get this, in Ukraine. So it is truly unbelievable to just think how powerful West Virginia's become. How really and truly we diversified in many ways, and all of a sudden we just, brightened up the whole world with things like, the dollars we're going to put into our roads to prosperity, or the dollars that we're committing to tourism or diversification, whether it be high tech or higher ed or whatever it may be. And we didn't forget our natural resources, did we? And just today, right now, as the energy has become weaponized now, right now, how, for all practical purposes, our coal miners, saved us. I just got through with a meeting over to Mansion. That is an incredible program. I'll tell you about it later on, but it's really trying to prevent, there's so many kids that are abducted in this country, and so many kids maybe that run away and everything, and a program really to be able to help, to be able to identify those kids and bring them home and everything, and really save a life, save a family, absolutely in every way. We talked a lot about that, and the gentleman that was there with us, said, he's from Texas, and he said, our coal miners in this country saved us in World War II and World War I. We wouldn't be sitting here if we hadn't had our coal miners to save us in World War I and World War II. We would not have been enjoying the freedoms that we have, would we? And I thought just this. I thought, he's exactly right. We all know that. But with all of that, right behind all that, what happened? All of a sudden, we had, whatever the reason may be, we had a lot of people that got way left. And then all of a sudden, all they could do was just turn and kick our, gas workers or our coal miners or our oil workers or their industries, in places that were bad. We made them feel bad. I talk a bunch about a gentleman that we lost, not long ago, probably 2.5 weeks ago, Stephen Hively. And I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. 50 years old from McDowell County. He was working in the metallurgical mines, from what I understand, and maybe the coal height wasn't very high at all. And just as many coal miners we have lost over the years, it's a difficult industry, and it's risky. And there he had worked for who knows how long, but not only that, You know, how many Stephen Haveleys have we lost? And how many go to work every single day? And they come out of thousands of feet from underground. They're filthy, filthy dirty. They've risked a lot for all of us. And then what did we do? What did we do as a nation? We absolutely turned our back on them and made them feel bad and kicked them right you know where and tried every way to extinguish them. And now, right now in Ukraine, and right now with what's going on in Europe and what's going on with the potential, and God forbid in every way, of the possibility of maybe World War III, who do we call? Who do we call? We call upon the Stephen Haveleys that we've lost. We call upon those that go to work every single day in our gas industry, our coal industry, our oil industry, on West Virginia. Who do we call? Who do we call when we're in trouble? It was terrible, terrible to beat down those industries like we did. You know, absolutely, as we go forward, we should always remember who brung us to the dance. We should be appreciative. We should be proud. And in the state of West Virginia, all these numbers that I tell you about, unemployment rate, you know, export growth rate, all the different things, all the surpluses, all the different things we're able to do. Really and truly, we diversified. We punched the right buttons at the right time. You know, some way, somehow, God above has directed us beyond belief. And with all that being said, lo and behold, now West Virginia is that diamond in the rough. I would say to everybody, please, please, let's don't forget all those that worked so hard to make us what we are every day. Another announcement. Sheesh. I mean, I don't know how they're just on and on. But we went to Hawk's Nest the other day. We unveiled the 2022 vacation guide in West Virginia. Secretary Ruby is doing a phenomenal job in tourism, a phenomenal job. You know, Steve McDaniel at the DNR and now Brett McMillian at the DNR, what great work they've done. Unbelievable what they've done. We've invested $151 million in our state parks. And you know what? Really and truly what we should do is invest another $151 million in our state parks. Because absolutely as soon as we invest the money, they come running. Without any question. We can't even get the people into the parks now. That's what we want. That's what we wanted in West Virginia. West Virginia, absolutely the most beautiful state in the nation, hands down. You know, we were proud of our own pond, and here they came. You know, we worked on a $7 million investment. You know, at Hawk's Nest, we've done something in all of our state parks, all across the state. We can always do more. And so the travel guide, you know, I think that, I read here that I don't think West Virginia, again, is the first state in the country to adopt a multi-part vacation guide format. And, you know, and I think you showed that just a second ago, Jordan, if you'd show it one more time. And, but all of those guides are directing us and giving us more and more detailed information about our parks. There's a road map as well that is unbelievable that goes right with it, and really great work. And I salute Chelsea and all those at the DNR, all those that worked really hard to make this a reality. And just to show you this, and I don't say this egotistically in any way, but I'm involved. I will promise you, I am involved. And you know, like the pictures on those guides and everything, all the different things, all the different aspects of this, because I'm involved because I know just how important and how good it can be. I've got incredible people that are doing great work. But you know, as they're charging up the hill, they want to look back and see, you know, that I'm charging right with them and I'm trying to do everything I can to help them. Just keep doing the great work, Chelsea and Brett now and Steve. Thank you, and all those are right with you. Here's another announcement. We're going to have the West Virginia Gold Rush returns. You know, this is all about our trout stockings. We're going to amp that up just a little bit. This is our 5th year. Now, let me tell you a little twist that we're going to have. We're going to stock 50,000 golden trout. That trout was really, you know, came into being here in West Virginia, and we're going to stock 50,000 of them. Some of them are going to have tags. Some of them that have tags, if you catch a trout, you know, and it's got a tag in it, and you'll send the information in and everything, you'll go into a drawing, and there's all kinds of, you know, big prizes that you can win, and all that was great. You know, we'll be stocking these fish from March the 29th till April the 9th. Now, stay with me just one second. A new dimension this year is of the 50,000. You know, to celebrate this special anniversary, we're going to give out 50,000 prizes. And basically what that is if you catch a golden trout and everything, we'll send you a commemorative coin and everything that will be really neat. So we want a flood of people that are coming from out of state and coming from within state. Get your fishing license, get your trout stamp, come out and enjoy these incredible waters. You'll get absolutely hooked on it. That's not a pun, but you'll get hooked on it for life because it absolutely will touch your soul. So great stuff there. Other thing, we just got through the meeting that was historic beyond belief at the mansion just a few minutes ago. I want to tell you a little bit about this, but we had 2 U.S. secretaries in the meeting. You know, our Secretary of Energy, Jennifer Granholm, was there, and our Secretary of Interior, Deb Haaland, was there, along with Senator Manchin and all my cabinet folks and everything. And we had 2 presidents of our universities, Dr. Gee and Dr. Brad Smith, Brad Smith were there, and from Marshall and WVU, and a lot of people with a lot of input and everything. Really good stuff. We want to be a state that is all-encompassing. My message, absolutely point blank, was just this: we're not going to forget. We're not going to forget our fossil fuels. I don't think that there's any possibility that today or in the foreseeable years that we can just migrate away from our fossil fuels. It is frivolous to think that. But at the same time, as we go forward, we want to embrace in West Virginia all the opportunities, whether they be nuclear or hydrogen or wind or solar or whatever it may be. Do we not? Absolutely we do. And West Virginia should be the melting pot for all this innovation, all this stuff. We don't forget our miners, our gas workers, our oil workers. We don't forget that. And we move forward. But as we move forward in West Virginia, we want to be the melting pot. We want to be the test pot, you know, for all this stuff that could go on. And whether it be, like I said, the nuclear or hydrogen or wind or whatever it may be, all the opportunities, because we have all the ingredients right here. West Virginia has it right here. So with all that, we don't want to turn our back and, you know, just be stuck in the mud and only live in one dimension. We want to live in all dimensions because that brings more and more goodness to West Virginia. Last thing I have here is just this is, well, let me say this. I guess I haven't brought this up, but there was some folks, legislators that we were in our legislative session here for 60 days. You wait till it's over, and then you run out and say, "Hey, I'm going to climb up on the biggest soapbox that I can climb up on," and our minority leaders did just that and say, "Let's just get rid of the gas tax for 30 days." Well, the interesting comment that I would have is at the end of the 30 days, are you going to be the very people that advocate to put it back? You know, and on top of all that and everything, you know, it almost came like, Governor, we want you to do this. Well, Governor can't do this. This has got to come from the legislature. You know, and I would just tell you, just as point blank as I can possibly tell you, from the standpoint of if the legislature comes to me with this, I'll gladly do it. I'll gladly do it. But absolutely, you've got to remember just this. All these dollars that are coming in, they don't go up and down. They stay constant as they can be. They don't go up and down with the gas prices. The gas prices have gone up off the chart because of one thing and one thing alone. And that is the weakness of what is going on in Washington, D.C. This country needed to be energy independent. Gas prices have not gone up a few cents. Gas prices have absolutely approached doubling. Well, what has happened? What has happened? You know, really and truly, and now, of all things, energy is a weapon. We absolutely in this country needed to be energy independent through and through, through and through. We don't need legislatures running out, jumping up on a soapbox to get their name in the paper. We have plenty of time to do prudent and smart things. You know, I can't stand it. I can't stand it when so often we absolutely step back from it. You know, I was over there in a meeting just a little while ago with Senator Manchin sitting right on my right-hand side. Listen to Senator Manchin talk about the same kind of views that I'm talking about in West Virginia and all the goodness that we can bring. You know, literally, Senator Manchin knows. He knows the Democratic Party, the mothership of these people that are here in the minority that want to jump up on a soapbox and say something so they can get their name in the paper and everything. And they know this has got to go completely through the legislature in order to be able to do it. You know, there was even a comment, well, just do it out of contingency fund. Well, I mean, that's preposterous. I mean, from the standpoint of the contingency fund surely isn't big enough to just keep on doing stuff. But nevertheless, I want you again to know and hear me loud and clear. This comes through the legislature, and the legislature wants to be called back into special session, I'll do it tomorrow. And if the legislature is called back into special session and they bring it to me and want to do it, I'm all in. I'm all in. Absolutely, without any question whatsoever, though this kind of grandstanding is not beneficial at all. That's what it is, just nothing but Bush League grandstanding. That's what I would call it. So, nevertheless, I guess the only thing I've got left is if you're filling out or you filled out your there was a page in here about filling out your NCAA brackets and everything like that, and I hope you're enjoying some of the games and able to kick back and take a few minutes and do that. And I hope you see the gymnasiums or stadiums or coliseums or whatever it may be, that are filled with people and cheering their teams on and everything, and some exciting games and everything. I hope you enjoy and you better pay close attention to Baby Dog's bracket because, she picked 11 out of the first 16 games, and she was right on her 11th seed, Michigan, upsetting Colorado State. And she's not doing so great in the little poll that we have here in the office. She's in 7th place on that, but pay attention to her. Anyway, thank you.
All right, thank you, Governor. Let's now go to Dr. Ainam Jad, our State Health Officer.
Thanks, Jordan. Good afternoon. Just a little brief update on the BA2 or what's known as a stealth variant. It's been talked about in the media a lot, and we're seeing a little bit of uptake in cases across Europe. We only have 12 cases to date in West Virginia right now. But the Omicron variant is still the predominant variant in West Virginia right now. But I do want to remind everyone, as the governor stated as well, that if you haven't got your booster vaccine right now, that it is time to get it. And of course, if you have not gotten your first dose of the COVID vaccine, to also get that as well. And I do want to let the governor know that I did enjoy the video that was shown earlier today. And I do appreciate the opportunity to work with everyone on the team for the COVID response over the last 2 years. Thanks, Jordan.
All right, thank you, Dr. Amjad. Secretary Bill Crouch is also joining us today and is available for questions. Retired Major General Jim Hoyer and Dr. Clay Marsh both had prior engagements today and will rejoin us next week. We'll now go to questions from members of the media. The first today from Charles Young with WV News.
Hi, this is Charles Young with WV News. Dr. Amjad, could you expand a little bit on our stealth variant? What do we expect to happen with it over the next few weeks or months? I know the United Kingdom is currently seeing a surge, and what happens in Europe is usually a pre-indicator of what we're about to experience here. We might only have 12 cases today, but do we expect that to increase? Thank you.
Sure.
Dr.
Oh, sorry.
let me say something before you jump in here and everything on this, but Charles, today is March the 18th, and I want people to really listen to me just for a second. Charles, who really believes it's sharp and really on their game? Who really believes that this thing is completely over? It's just gone. It's just gone. Well, I don't believe it. I don't believe that. Now, do I believe it's something that is manageable and it's something that we're going to probably have to live with for some period of time? I hope and pray that's days and not months or years. But Charles, if we just step back from this and just think that this thing's over forever and gone, period, the end. Well, I don't think that. Jim Justice does not think that way. And Jim Justice is worried that all the time, or concerned is the best word, concerned. And if I were concerned and I had not taken my booster shot, or I was logical in thinking that there's a chance, whether it be the stealth variant or whatever it may be, there's a chance that this could whiplash on us and we'd be right back into another variant, another situation. For crying out loud, get your booster shots. These vaccines are incredibly safe. Stack the deck in your favor. Really and truly, the likelihood that this is just gone is not very high. I hope and pray it is. But Jim Justice does not think it's just gone. And so Jim Justice thinks it's manageable, and hopefully it will be gone soon. But right now, I'd be getting my booster shot. Dr. Amjad, please.
Yes, Governor. So Charles, just to add to that, exactly. So I wouldn't say anything is gone, and we tend to follow a couple of weeks after anything that we see in Europe. So while it's manageable, we always have to be prepared. We do have boosters readily available across pharmacies, health departments, clinics. So we'll always be prepared with testing options, booster shots. But, I think we always just need to be mindful of that and be prepared for that. So while cases are low, we can manage it right now. Unless you go out and get your boosters, get your vaccines, and always be ready. We just never know what's going to happen. So we tend to always lag behind, but we are completely preparable if you will just have your vaccines and be prepared as mentioned before. But that's how I'll take it as well. Just be ready for anything. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Charles. Next to Paul Mullen with WCBC.
Good afternoon, Governor. Good afternoon, panel. Question, first of all, Governor, a point of press privilege maybe that I want to compliment your staff for working with me to get some answers for the residents of Piedmont on their water supply issue. But I wanted to go back to my question on long COVID. We discussed it with Dr. Marsh medically the last time, but there is also reports around the country of varying tests coming out now showing the learning loss that occurred in education and how those students are going to catch up, as we've talked about before with Clayton Birch. And I would also be interested to hear your thoughts on the cost that COVID has taken on those in recovery from the opioid epidemic. Those are two things that would be long COVID type impacts that we haven't talked about a lot. Thank you.
Well, Paul, if I understood your question, the first part of the question is how are kids going to catch up? Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And Paul, I would just say just this, that we always seem to find a way, and with a lot of hard work from teachers and parents and all those and administrators and all those that are at play, that are trying really, really hard for our kids. I do believe that our kids will catch up. I do believe that there's been a cannonball to all of our stomachs and that has knocked us back and surely hurt. But maybe Secretary Crouch, you could add just a little bit to that, and then I'll come back in.
Yes, sir, Governor. Thank you, and thank you, Paul. We've been working hard on the SUD issue, even though we've been in the middle of a pandemic. We have not slowed down on that. Things are more difficult sometimes, but the Governor's Council on SUD has done a terrific job. Had a presentation yesterday by the Attorney General looking at how we can work together further on this problem. We've increased the number of folks out there to provide services both through treatment and through recovery programs. Our quick response teams have expanded. I think we're in 35 counties now. Our Office of Drug Control Policy and Dr. Matt Christensen and our Commissioner of the Bureau of Behavioral Health work closely together along with Dr. Amjad and the Bureau of Public Health in tackling this problem. We have some good news, and I think we rolled that out a couple of weeks ago, where overdose deaths in West Virginia are dropping. We're looking at a good trend now. As I've said before, prior to the pandemic, we had a 22% reduction in overdose deaths. Following year, I believe it was 2019, we had a 13% reduction in overdose deaths. So we were trending well until this pandemic. The isolation that was created through the inability to make connections with peers and connections with support groups and programs, treatment programs, recovery programs, et cetera, has had a devastating impact on this problem. But we are pushing hard to try to fix this and try to make things better for folks. We want anyone who has an interest in seeking help to look at the dashboard numbers. There are phone numbers and contacts there that people can reach others. So we want to do everything we can to fix this problem. We talk about this a lot, but the mental health issues related to this pandemic will go on for years and years. And long COVID is a part of that with regard to adults who can't make it through the day and who have headaches. These are problems about 30% of the population, 32% of the population that we're seeing have. We don't know enough about this yet. We also don't know the impact of long COVID on kids, which is concerning. A lot more work is being done, and we'll stay on top of that and report back to you as we get more information. Thank you, Paul.
And Paul, the last thing for me is just is through all of this, and I commend all the folks at DHHR and all of our medical teams, Dr. Amjad, and and on. But through all this, we just didn't say, okay, we're fighting a drug issue, and now all of a sudden we've got a pandemic. All hands on deck, pandemic, all balls dropped as far as the drug issues and across this state. and we're just going to go deal with the pandemic. We didn't do that. But we surely did have to, shift channels a little bit, but we still kept both balls in the air and really moving in the right direction. And, that's what we have to do. We've got, there's a lot of there's thousands of different balls that you're juggling all the time in the state of West Virginia to try to make things happen in the correct way. But you can't just drop things and move on to something else. I mean, that's not happened.
All right, thank you, Paul. Next, we'll go to Kenny Bass with WCHS and Fox 11.
Thank you for the opportunity. Just wanted to point out, I've been keeping track, of course, of the deaths and how it relates to where we live and where we are in West Virginia. And with the number of 6,646, we've unfortunately moved into the top 25 largest areas in West Virginia. That total actually represents the 24th largest city in the state, just past Nitro, which is poignant for me. I'm a graduate of Nitro High School. So Charlestown, Pea Ridge, and Nitro have all been passed now. And the number of people who've died here, it's like everyone in the city of Nitro passed away, which is sobering when I think about the scale of that. So a sad milestone. And unfortunately, it looks like it's going to keep going up. The question I have is either for Dr. Amjad, but probably more for Governor Justice. When you talk about the subvariant, the Omicron subvariant, the BA2, it is predicted to rise in the nation. Right now, it accounts for about a quarter of all the COVID cases in the U.S., many more than West Virginia. So we know what happens in the country eventually happens here. So with the BA2 coming, Dr. Fauci has now come out and said, well, we may have to think about remasking in some regards, and we may have to think about getting out of indoor settings. Governor, even though this thing is not over, as you pointed out, how hard will it be to get that horse back into the barn, to get people to remask up again and to start following stricter guidelines now that we've reached the point where we are?
Well, Kenny, I'll defer to Dr. Amjad in just one second, but I'd say nearly impossible, when it really boils right down to it. And God above knows that I hope and pray in every way that we won't approach anything like having to do that. But it's been tough enough, that's just all there is to it, but through all that and through a lot of really conflicting information coming out of DC or wherever it may be, that's all we really had to go by. There was not any fancy Dan playbook, and we could all, stick by the playbook and make it work. We had to listen to the experts, and lots of times the experts' information that was coming to us was not very good. Kenny, it would be really catastrophic, and it would be, in my opinion, nearly impossible now for us to retract and go back into isolation and mask and everything else. But Kenny, I do think that we are good, reasonable people, and we'll do whatever we got to do. I mean, that's all there is to it. I mean, we're going to beat this. And I'm not convinced that we're home free right yet. I hope to goodness we are, but I'm not convinced we're there, and I'm going to continue to try to be concerned because I got a lot of folks that are depending on me to be just that. But Dr. Amjad, please go.
Yes, Governor. Kenny, it is hard to ask people to use their mask when they've just been relieved of that. And I'll use some examples. If everyone's fully boosted and you're in an indoor setting with people that we'll say family members, maybe you're not going to. But then if you're having a new variant come up and maybe you're in an environment where you don't know everyone's vaccine status, maybe someone's immunocompromised, maybe you'd want to use your mask. I think we're moving into an era where you're going to have to use your own personal judgment. And I think that's what's going to be happening in the next few months. But of course, we also use a lot of guidelines for that and a lot of self-care and personal preference as well. But it's going to be very hard to kind of make those recommendations, and we're going to see. So I think people are going to be using their own judgment. And then, of course, we rely on different CDC recommendations and so on. But right now, we still want people to get their vaccines, use their booster shots, and then use their own judgment when in personal settings. But, we do that ourselves as well right now. But it's going to be very hard to, force people to do things that they don't want to do. But that's where we're at right now, most likely with upcoming variants. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Kenny. Next, we'll go to June Leffler with West Virginia Public Broadcasting.
Hello, good afternoon, panel. Good afternoon, Governor Justice. Last week, you mentioned that you were looking into filing suit against the Charleston Gazette and Phil Kabler. Has that suit been filed? Will a suit be filed?
June, the suit has not been filed. I also said, that I was wanting to meet with Doug Reynolds and Marshall Reynolds. They're both really good people and really good friends, and they are the owners and operators of the newspaper. And we have not met yet. I think Doug was out of town last week and everything, and but hopefully we'll be able to get together real soon. There's been lots and lots and lots on everybody's calendar and everything. We'll get together real soon, and we'll sift everything out and make a decision. I hope collectively as far as moving forward. But I think it's conduct. Like I said, it just goes way beyond the pale. I mean, that's all there is to it. It's way, 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 way beyond the pale. And so with all that being said, there won't be anything done until we meet, because I got all the respect in the world for those individuals, and after we meet, we'll make a decision on what to do.
All right, thanks, June. Governor, I'll turn it back to you to close out.
Well, lots and lots and lots of announcements here today, and lots of good news is in regard to our map, and only one county, and that one county yellow, all the rest of the counties green. Lots of sadness to me, when you got to go through 87 more people in West Virginia that we've lost. I don't know how we look at that other than, a lot of sadness, a lot of opportunity, a lot of hope, and we're going to get there, but it's 6,646 great West Virginians are gone. And dag, I just hate it. But we got a lot of exciting things going on in West Virginia, and we want to really now perpetuate the fact that we are that diamond in the rough that everybody's missed, and we're going to keep it going, and we're going to keep moving. Keep your prayers dialed in lots of ways to Ukraine right now. I've said it a bunch of times. I wanted to speak to the House and the Senate, and we couldn't quite pull it all off and everything, so I spoke in the Rotunda area, and we did have a good many legislators come down, but I really believe it was the most important statement that I could have made, maybe ever. And that's just this. Now, let's just think about it real quick. Do you really not believe that God does not want happening what is happening in Ukraine? Do you really absolutely not think that we should stand first and foremost with God, period? I mean, do you really believe that this madman in Russia, I don't believe the Russian people want this either, but do you really, really believe that this man that I think is very intelligent, don't get me wrong, and I don't think that he is, per se a madman, even though I've just referred to that like that, but I think he is calculative and very, very intelligent. But how does it make any sense at all if he's that, whether he's a madman or whether he's just that? Well, how could it make any sense that he would want to totally destroy a country like Ukraine? a country like Ukraine and totally make it a war zone beyond belief, and then stop. He'll have to repair that if he stops. And it will cost hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. I don't think he's going to stop. And if he doesn't stop, this situation is going to escalate whether we like it or not like it. It should have never happened. If we would have absolutely not given up our energy independence, it never would have happened. Absolutely, without any question, this weakness that we have portrayed made it happen. So in my opinion, what all you've got to do to get where I'm coming from is just say, justice stands arm in arm with God. Absolutely, I believe that America is going to be drugged deeper and deeper into this, and standing weak and begging Russia to not do is not going to work. That's what justice thinks. But irregardless of that, I stand first and foremost with America, and secondly, absolutely with West Virginia. West Virginia right now is called upon to save the world again. Absolutely called upon to save the world again, because we possess the energy that the world needs so badly, it's unbelievable. And in all of that, if that's not enough for you, in all of that, West Virginia, if handled correctly, and we make the right moves on the chessboard, West Virginia can benefit from the fact that we're going to handle these moves correctly. We can put more people to work. We can save the world in lots and lots of different ways that make West Virginia even better. West Virginia has a real responsibility today. Now, I would trade it all in a second if we could stop this terrible carnage that's happening in Ukraine. But with all that, because our products are in demand all across the globe, we don't need a war to make things better for the coal industry or the gas industry. We don't need that. You know, absolutely, we're already in demand all across the globe. But what we need, in my opinion, is really simple. We need to stand with God. We need to stand up for what's right. And absolutely, as we go forward, we need to absolutely remember that we in West Virginia were called upon to maybe look after the well-being of the world in World War I, World War II, and now we got kicked to the sideline with these industries. And if you believe that we can do without fossil fuels today, you're silly thinking. We want to embrace all the energy sources that we have in every way, all the alternatives. Moving forward, there may be a day someday, but today is not the day. And today, absolutely, West Virginia is called upon again to save the world again. We need to step up, and we need to know that West Virginia can benefit as well. Absolutely, we can put more people to work. We've not walked off and forgotten our natural resources. We absolutely want to diversify in every way. But absolutely today, I don't know how in the world we can just sit idly by when people have written on the parking lots on both ends of a building, kids and Russian. And then that building is blown to smithereens. And we can't even get there to sift through the rubble to see if some of the kids are still alive. The same thing happened in that maternity ward. You see, I don't think he'll stop. And I think, it's time to stand with God. And it's time for America to be the beacon of the world. And surely to God above, it's not the time to be afraid. I'm not going to be afraid. There's no way. So nevertheless, I thank you, West Virginia, for being right with me, and we'll just keep it up. Thank you all so much.